Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we would like to begin our celebration with this little light of mine, which is going to be up on the wall. So stand when you're able. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. No more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. No more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. No more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. 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 Oh yeah. Thank you for that wonderful rendition. Yeah, great, thank you.
That was super fun. Thank you, Bill and Rick, for leading, and Nancy.
Like a very full church.
Yeah. Wake us up.
Well,
Good morning to everyone who is celebrating with us for the first time today. Anybody? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. Our usual good friends. If you'll take a moment and silence your cell phones, we'd be grateful. Okie doke. Our At 1 Minute reader today is Pam Woods. Our guest musicians are Bill and Cherie. Did I pronounce it right? Okay. And I asked many people. I could ask you directly. Okay, Pam.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was looking for some scriptures to illuminate this journal entry that I made, and I decided just to give you a journal entry. But on the principle that we all have Christ in our hearts, I just want to start by reading John 4:14. Those who drink the water I will give them will never be thirsty again. We've been getting a lot of rain. And the small talk in our community when we get a lot of rain is, oh geez, I wish it would stop raining. And I think about this a lot because I like rain, but that's, just me. So this is some reflections on water that I want to give to you this morning. In the Torah and the Bible, God's Spirit moved upon the waters, and they brought forth creatures. In Islam, too, water was part of the creation myth, and the Hindus have the great Ganges River, which flows from the goddess that creates and purifies. Jewish believers have the cleansing of the mikveh, and the Muslims the wudu. There's the holy baptism and many other rituals that call on water to complete our conversion or mark us as connected to God. My daughter came home the other day to find a bathtub full of water. She asked if I had forgotten to drain it. She thinks I'm senile. Sometimes she's right. I told her I had discovered that 4 of these little pitchers that I had sitting by the bathtub, full of my dirty bath water, would flush my poo down the toilet. It wasn't so much an act of conservation as it has become a specific moment with an act that allowed me to reflect on people with just as much Christ in their hearts as I do, who suffer the lack of water. They just suffer from it. I've always found it interesting that we flush our poo with potable water. I've always found any rain comforting, never having had to live or work in a monsoon. I'm blessed to be able to hear it. I used to be able to smell it. It washes everything and causes the bird to chatter at times when they're usually quiet, and green things leap out of the ground. Because the earth is ravaging the land right now with vengeful water, I saw a beautiful animated map of the United States showing all the rivers flowing out of the Intermountain West into the Mississippi, which is, of course, as we know, overflowing and causing us much grief. In my part of the country, my land is in the settled ripples of the oldest mountains in the world, and our water flows into the sea. Because of this blessing, I feel the need to use this time in prayer for the blessing of water and the consideration of water, and my deepest hope that my love flows out like healing water. It occurs to me that much has been done by nature to remind us that what doesn't spill out as needed will well up and crush us like a tsunami. Either way, I guess it's good, right?
It's really beautiful, Pam. Thank you. And I'm really enjoying your rainforest themed outfit.
My monsoon dress.
Yeah. I love the rain too, and I love it so much I named Kendrick's middle name Rain.
Oh.
Yes. So I'm very happy during these days. Okay, our opening hymn today is number 1, Abide With Me. And we will sing all 3 verses. Number 1, Abide With Me, all 3 verses. Stand as you are able.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you here on this rainy day. Instead of a Bible verse this morning, I want to talk to you about something from this little book. Raise your hand if you've read it. There's quite a few. Yes. I love this little book, and I go back to it over and over again. So listen to this. Train yourself to think. I do not judge of what I am by what I feel, but I direct my feelings by what I know I am. This is scientific. It is knowledge duly arranged. This is the method and the only method by which to control thought and express our highest concept of perfection. Systematically train your thinking in truth's way. There is but one way, one truth, and one life. Find it and abide in it. Affirm over and over again the eternal principles that truth reveals. Recognize that these are varieties of your own being or your own life. Think and speak by its light. Be positive. Be firm. An unwavering and consciousness of truth will be your reward. Every hour in the day, yes, every moment, be on your guard to admit that only perfect good and affirm the love presence is everything. So I want to talk for a minute about this word guard. Be on your guard. Well, we guard a lot of things. Sometimes we even have a scarecrow guard our gardens, right? We want to protect. So why is it we don't guard our thoughts? Why is it we don't protect what we're thinking? There's a word called metacognition, which definitely refers to thinking about your own thinking. This is man's responsibility. Let him recognize it faithfully. Let him systematically practice thinking of this perfect being that is the nature of love, purity, peace, and health. Recognize that this is your being. So as we talk today, let's think about our thinking. I know it's hard. I know we don't want to do it sometimes, but I think today is a perfect day to do it. Say with me now our statement of being. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
It seems you have a bit of a problem. Let's see. This is called extemporize. I'm going to do a tune while she's taking care of the baby. It's called Paper Moon. It's only a paper moon. If this thing works right. Well, here it is. Well, I just changed my mind. We're going to do a tune. I think I've mentioned this to you all before. It's called Bluesette. It was written by a guy named Toots Tilden, who was a famous jazz harmonica player. This is a tune that I mentioned that, at least for me, sometimes once I get lost, I stay lost in this tune. But Cherie will hopefully find me. Well, it's in 3/4 like a waltz, jazz waltz. 3, 2, 3, 4.
Are we having prayer requests in the box? Yes. Good. Let's have just a moment of prayer for these who have given us requests. Most gracious God, Creator of all I know, all that I see, all that I love, we thank you for these requests. Yes, we thank you. Knowing that these people trust that we will hold them in the brightest light, in the most perfect reflection of health, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Yes, God, we see them as perfect already. And we thank you for that opportunity. Now, if you will, for just a minute, or maybe two, let go of all that you perceive separates us. In your mind's eye, see us as we truly are. We are one. Let deep call to your deep. Know that in this very moment, in this holy instant, that you are the pure and perfect child of our living God. Know in this quiet time that you are truly holy in every part of your being. Feel yourself filled with the Spirit of God. Know in your deep that you're established forever in endless health and harmony. Let us know right now that we are balanced in the all good. Know deep in your heart and deep in your mind that you are divine. And see your divine self in mind, in thought, and in body. You can claim right this morning that you are pure spirit and you are total love. Claim that. Know the truth of yourself. And the Bible tells us that the truth will set you free. In this quiet time, let's spend a moment let's spend some time reflecting on our true selves and who we are. And in deepest gratitude, let us give thanks for the experiences we have, for the people that we have, for the love that we have. Later you may choose to take on the belief again that we are not one, that we are separate. But for right now, for the next 90 seconds, let's stay in that place of oneness. Let's stay in that place of gratitude. Just be still. And know that God is God. Come unto me, says the deepest voice within. Come unto me and I will give you rest. I'll give you rest from all those beliefs that you carry around that are just not true. I'll give you rest from all those hurt feelings that you carry that are not your burden. Just come unto me, I'm always here. And I always give you rest. That is my promise. And now while we're in a way of gratitude and love, let us say our Lord's Prayer in the Aramaic version. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom is come. Thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. Thou givest us this day our daily bread. Thou forgivest us our trespasses, as we forgive those who've trespassed against us. Thou leadest us not into temptation, but dost deliver us from all thoughts of evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and all the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, I'm glad you're here today. And the lights are going to come right back on. There we go. Truly, the Christ in me recognizes the Christ in you today. As some people would say, namaste. I am sure this morning that all things are in divine order. I really believe that. And I believe that there's something great and life-changing for someone here today. And it's probably me. I never like to talk to you unless I'm talking from a place of my own desire for more and more knowledge, for revelation. But I hope today that when you leave here, you feel more awake than you did when you came in. More awake to life. As the young people would say, I got woke. Let me read to you from 2 Corinthians 10:5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Now you see, the Gentiles and their religions, they were ruled by the emperors and the kings, so those who were rebelling would be imprisoned or maybe put to death. And Jesus' followers were told, don't resort to earthly weapons. Don't do that. but keep every thought captive. Every thought captive. Well, I know we're going to keep hearing this lesson over and over until we get it. Until we finally get it. That like will beget like. That seeing the Creator and creation as perfect, then you'll be able to give up all your thoughts of imperfection. So I know when I look around in this world, sometimes I'm seeing what I wrongly perceive as imperfection. She doesn't do this like I think she should. He never does that like I think he should. We've got to learn to stop shoulding on everybody, right? No shoulding. We shouldn't say that. We shouldn't say someone should. We should see it all as perfect. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. And so does he believe. And then what follows that? So shall he act. I see some nodding. How have you been acting lately? Ask yourself that question. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a few seconds to reflect on how you've been acting. I'm going to go back to an old fella, Emmett Fox. He talks a lot about watching and guarding your mental diet. So I know there are those of us who count carbs. We look on the back of the label and we think about our physical diet, about how much sugar is in something. Have I had enough protein today? We do take care of our diet, our entertainment diet. But do we take care of our mental diet? Remember I talked not too long ago about whatever is in your cup is what's going to spill out. I'll review it if you don't remember. I said there was a man and someone ran into him. He was carrying his cup of coffee, and what spilled out? His coffee. So whatever is in you is going to spill out when the tough times come. Right? When the tragedy hits, or your feelings get hurt, whatever is inside of you is what is going to spill out. So kind of guard that. Know what it is ahead of time. I say decide right this minute what you think it is. I am going to ask you today to let your experience expand. This is going to be work. It's not something easy or simple. You have to put the work in. I want you to make a commitment right now to be here with me right this minute. Don't think about other things. Don't think about what you're having for lunch. Let's create right now together this intentional moment. Let's be very intentional about it. Because we want our awareness to expand. We want our awareness to grow. And I promise you that when we do this kind of work together, we can claim holy ground. You know, practicing the presence of God can be confusing sometimes. I admit that it's not always easy for me to look out there, outside of me, to see you and all that's in my experience, and see God everywhere. I've had a friend who said to me once, I don't see God everywhere. Oh, look at that plant right there. I don't see God in that plant. That's just a plant. I'll admit it was hard to explain. But I'm learning to see God everywhere, in all things, and in all people. Despite whatever appearances I may see to the contrary. My friend went on to say, well, when I see a car wreck, I don't see God in that. How can you? There's death there, there's pain. Oh. You see, my friends, I'm learning to see God around and in everything. In John 7:24, Jesus taught by saying this, Judge not according to appearances, but judge righteous judgment. So perhaps when we see the appearance of what we call evil, that we can look through to the truth that's lying behind that, back of that, before that. And I promise you, if you learn to see with spiritual eyes, the appearance of things change. They truly do. You see, it is all about contrast. That's kind of how I used my words to help this friend understand. So I want to talk to you for a minute about contrast and what it does for us. Emmett Fox does say that the secret to successful living is to build a mental equivalent that you want, and just get rid of or expunge the mental equivalent that you do not want. So whatever enters your life is just a mental expression of some belief that you have in your own mind. Not everybody will go along with that, right? But I'm saying to you, the scripture tells us, and Jesus tells us, that we can have the mind of Christ. And we here believe in the Christ within. And we are learning that all subjects are really two subjects. What I want and what I do not want. So, it's normal if you're asking yourself this question. How am I going to know if my wants are good or right? I have a simple answer. We have God-given feelings that tell us if something is right or good. And if it's feeling badly, it's not love. And that's okay. Simply have the courage to say to yourself, this is not love. And I believe you'll know it's love if you're feeling loving. Emmett Fox says this is the real key to life. If you change your mind, your conditions will have to change also. He teaches that if you change your thinking, your mind, that your body will change. That your daily work will change. That your home must change. That the whole color of your life will change. Indeed, the scriptures have told us that we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. Emmett Fox will say to you that what you're thinking, your mental diet, is really the most important thing in your whole life. He calls it the great cosmic law. And I don't know of any thoughtful person who would think otherwise. Yes. I haven't completely learned to do it yet. I'm working on that. You see, the only problem is that our thoughts are really very close to us. And sometimes we know that we're thinking something, but it's kind of difficult to look at it objectively. That's what the masters do. The masters have learned metacognition. They've learned to think about their thinking. And that's exactly what we can learn to do. Here's a quick example of what I'm talking about. Many of us have a boss, somebody who evaluates our work. This is how you may have a thought process. Let's say that I get a mediocre review. It's okay. And I find myself immediately thinking thoughts like this. Wait a minute, I do an excellent job. What's wrong with him? Proficient, really? I really feel like I'm exemplary in that. And more than just that area. I'm exemplary in a lot of areas. And then here's what I did. And this is one of my favorite phrases of all time. I nursed and rehearsed that. I told my fellow coworkers, can you believe this? This man says I'm proficient. What is wrong with him? Get the idea? I nursed it and rehearsed it. I talked about it a lot. Not only that, but I got them to talk about it too. I heard things like, of course you're exemplary. In all those areas. What is wrong with him? Yeah. But then I had to see that I needed to practice what I preached. So, like the masters, I thought about what I was thinking. Had a talk with myself. I said, I need to take Emmett Fox to heart, and I was thankful. I even said thank you to God for this contrast. Thank you, God, that I can see now what I don't want. And I had a little talk with myself. I said, I don't want to feel like I'm not good enough or that I'm failing someone. I don't want to feel badly about myself as an employee. Here was my opportunity. So I say to myself, how am I going to feel without that kind of feeling? Without those negative feelings? How am I going to think and how am I going to feel? I looked at the opposite. What is it that I want to feel? I want to feel appreciated for my efforts. I want to feel that I'm productive, that I'm an excellent employee, that I bring light into the workplace. I want to feel good about myself, and I want to feel good about my boss. So if you're watching this, it's okay. I've worked it out. And I want to feel good about our relationship. The truth is, I was having that feeling inside that this was not good. So it was a clear indication that I was not thinking the way I should be, that I was not guarding my thoughts. So I decided I must choose the thoughts of what I do want and replace the old thoughts, the ones about things I don't want. Now this is a spiritual principle. But be careful how you change your thinking. It doesn't work if you say to yourself, okay, I'm not being mad. I'm not going to let him make me feel less of myself. I'm just going to ignore his opinions. Who cares about that stupid evaluation? Can you see how that's not guarding your thoughts? That's putting you right back into the knots and what you don't want. It's still nursing and rehearsing. It's still thoughts about things I don't want. Here's an example. I'm about to control your thinking. Now, I want you to sit there for a minute, but don't think about the Roanoke star. Don't do it. Oh, I'm sure you did it. I'm sure you saw it right there in your head. All lit up. You were probably not thinking of anything else but the Roanoke star. The law of mind is that you only get rid of one thought when you substitute it with another. And everything in life, says Emmett Fox, has an equivalent. So I'm going to ask you today when you leave here to start by trying this principle. Try it. Be aware to what you're thinking. Apply it to your real life situations. You can briefly state the problem and then quickly and strongly state what you do want. I want love and peace and harmony. And if you say that strongly enough and believe it deeply enough, that is what you bring into your experience. Let's practice. Take a moment and think about a situation in your life that you're not happy with, that you're not happy about, that you say negative things about. In your mind, just state the problem. And now just as quickly, observe what you're thinking and state the opposite. What is it you want? Be serious and firm about it. Remember that you have the very nature of God, because like begets like, another spiritual truth. And we have listed many times the nature of God. You can probably say them with me. It's love, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, power, life, and joy. So I say to you, no matter what the circumstances are around you or what conditions you're finding in your life, that nature of you does not change. You can still be love and wisdom and knowledge. You can still be powerful and understanding. I remind myself constantly that if I'm feeling down or not happy or badly about anything, I've just learned to quickly say, okay, I know what I don't want. And I can now define with certainty what I do want. I'd like for you to say this after me, kind of like a call and response. I think it's pretty powerful, and if you can learn to say it or something like it on your own, your life will be changed. So say this with me. God is my source. I think God thoughts. God is my environment. I know no other presence. God love is my nature. I acknowledge no opposite in myself. In God I am complete. Thank you for joining me in this holy now, this right now. Thank you for expressing and holding your thoughts captive to the obedience of the Christ inside. I really do love you. And I'm trying very hard, with more and more ease as the days go by, to love everything and to make every decision from love. I see the Christ in you. I hope you see the Christ in me. And I promise you, we will change this little part of our world. Amen.
This time we're going to do a tune written by my favorite composer, Antonio Carlos Jobim. It's been recorded by everybody under the sun. It's called Wave. It's Latin, bossa nova. One, two, three.
goodness, that was so wonderful. Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. You kept in with the water rain thing too. Melanie, thank you so much for your message. Now it's time for blessing of the gifts. And we'll repeat our blessing statement as found in our order of service. Today, I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent, blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God.
While we're collecting, let's take a moment to turn to someone and thank them for the special gift that they are. All right, here's our prayer basket. If you'll take a slip to pray for someone this week.
Good morning.
Good
morning. Okay, just short announcements this morning. The flowers today are sponsored by Amy Jo for Kendrick's birthday. It's hard to believe he is 17. My goodness gracious. So anyhow, happy birthday. We sang happy birthday to him last week. He wasn't here, but that's okay. So thank you for sponsoring those. This Thursday night we will have a journaling class instead of the craft. Ann and Pam kind of switched because Ann's in California. So journaling class at 6:30 this Thursday night. Marita called me yesterday, this Friday night, June the 14th at 7 p.m. She is having her first meeting of the International Association of Near-Death Experience at 7 o'clock in the annex. So I'll post it on Facebook and we'll go put it on the website, so it's kind of a short notice. But anyhow, she's going to start this. I don't know if she's going to have it every month or every other month. I guess she'll decide that after she has her first meeting. But it's something she's been wanting to do, so she's having the first meeting this Friday night. And I'll remind everybody Thursday so that if they're interested in coming. Also, Saturday night, which is June the 15th, our dinner out is going to be at the Wildflower on 4th Street at 6:30. Our friend Joy is playing there, and so we'd like to help sponsor them sometime. So anybody that can go, let me know, so we'll make sure that we have a table big enough for everybody. So again, I'll make an announcement later in the week, but at 6:30 Saturday night. And that's it.
Okay, our closing hymn is number 83, Confident Living. We'll sing verses 1 and 2. Number 83, Confident Living, verses 1 and 2, stand as you are able.
All right, let's gather for our benediction.
Oh, look whose hand. Oh, I thought you could hold her hand.
We'll just kind of work over the chair, how's that? That'll work.
There we go.
What's the gap, youngins?
All right, Tigger.
Today, instead of bowing your heads, take a look in the eyes of people around you. This is our family. If we're not guarding our thoughts, if I'm not guarding my thoughts, please remind me. Remember, the ministers of our church are the people of our church. I challenge you this week to keep every thought captive. Make it an experiment. It will change your living, I promise. So let's go out there in this world and spread our love around. Change thinking makes changed people. And we can only change the people around us. But let's be on the cutting edge of that. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Right on.